Well, good day and welcome to yet another straight up TV program with myself, Grantley. It's good to have your company today. My guest on the program is a gentleman that I've been playing his music for a little while now. Whenever I do, I get really excited about him because he's the kind of gospel artist that produces music that I simply love. He is a native of New Orleans, a state in America that I've been to a couple of times, and his influences are, let me see now, jazz and R&B and funk, and we really love that. We really love that. So you're probably wondering who is my guest today. Well, my guest on the program is the one and only Anthony Hall. Anthony, how are you?
Hey Grantley, how are you?
I'm blessed of God. What's the weather like in New Orleans? Are you in
Um,
New Orleans right now?
I actually just got back from New Orleans. I actually live in Houston now. I'm
You're
originally
in
from New
Houston. Okay.
but I'm in Houston and it's hot.
You know what? We could do with some of that heat in the UK right now. We really could.
I was just in the UK a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact, and
Would you really?
it yeah, it was pretty cool. I spend most of my time in Selfridges, so there you have it.
Okay. That's a good store. That's a good
Good
store.
stuff.
I,
Good stuff.
I used to have a gospel nightclub just round the corner from Selfridges back
Got you.
in the around about 2003. And
Got
it ran for 6 years called the Click Club. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about you. So, New Orleans native. Um,
Yes.
what we want to do, Anthony, is share from beginning to end. So, you were born in New Orleans. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, most of my life, and grew up in music. My dad is a musician, and so he taught me, a lot about producing and things like that. My grandfather, my stepdad's father, really taught me how to write songs, and so from a kid, I just knew there was something special musically about me. I was just waiting on the opportunity, to do it. And so I produced a lot of music down in New Orleans with a lot of local artists, worked on some music myself that had never come out. And then Hurricane Katrina happened, and I moved over to Houston maybe a year after Katrina and got back into music really heavily out here. And then, my professional life kind of took off. And so I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur, I own a few businesses. And so I was really focused on that, because I mean, everybody understands sometimes you got to pay the bills, and so became really successful in the business space. And then when I pray God, like God, if you give me the opportunity to do what I dreamed of doing, I'll open the door for other people. And so I met my business partner Dominique, and we built an 18,000 square foot facility here in Houston, Texas, called Vgn Bae Studios. We started a record label. We signed a bunch of artists that are great. We put out a lot of music, and finally it was time for me to do my debut album, which we call Roosevelt. I named it after my grandfather who taught me how to write songs. And so it's an exploration of funk, classic R&B, new jack. We kind of touched a little bit of everything on that album. And I didn't expect it to be as widely acclaimed as it's been. But I mean, now it's everywhere. Everybody loves it, and we're kind of pivoting off of the Roosevelt wave, and we dropped the single Focus, and I'm ready in a live album. We just recorded Roosevelt live in Dallas about 3 weeks ago, and so we're getting that ready to come out here soon, and we're doing our big stellar push right now, and so everything's amazing, man.
Okay. Okay. So you're getting ready for the big push on Stellars because I know a lot of people are sending out their, vote for me and all that sort of thing, right?
For sure,
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
I've
public
been
voting
seeing
starts
that.
tomorrow, starts on Monday the 17th, and we're just praying and hoping that we can pull down some nominations from that for sure.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm going to vote for you.
For sure, I really appreciate it.
I am. I'm going to vote for you. As soon as we finish this, I'm going to jump online and vote. I love your music, Anthony. I really do. From my heart, I love your
Thank
music.
you so
And
much.
just looking at your bio, your influence, jazz, funk, R&B. Okay, um, I take it that these influences were while you were still in Christ. Yeah, you came to Christ, and
Yes,
tell us
yes,
about how those influences. Were you allowed to listen to the music at home? Because I know some Christians, their parents are like, "Listen, you ain't listening to
right.
this,
You
this,
can't
and
do that.
this."
Well, I
You're all
grew
right
up
with
in
the
church.
Clark sisters.
Yeah, I grew up in church my whole life. I've sang, played, all that in church my entire life. And so I was lucky that my dad, like I said, he's a musician. He played and still plays with a lot of people, travels the world playing music. And so I was well rounded musically. Now, I didn't listen to rap and all of that. I still really don't listen, to a lot of rap music and stuff like that. It's not that I think something's wrong with it. It's just not my vibe. It's not who I am. But I
Mm.
listen to a lot of old school music. So my dad and my mom, my stepdad, they always let me listen to James Brown, Prince, Stevie Wonder was a big play in our house, Morris Day and the Times, any of Rick James, all of that stuff. I listened to, and my dad would actually play with his bands, on stage, or play with some of these guys, on stage. And
Yeah,
so I grew up in a well-rounded musical, space where I was able to explore music. And now, like, if you go turn on my car right now, the big playback is on. It'll come on, and that's the last thing you
James
listen to.
Brown. Yeah, yeah,
It's so this music is not really. I didn't really get into it to just pay homage to a genre and do music that reflected a certain time period. That's who I am. Like, I am funk
I
music.
hear
That's
that.
what I listen to. That's what I am, and that's why it feels authentic when you hear it. It's just not
Yeah.
something that I'm just trying to do.
Most definitely. Now, so as I mentioned in the intro, I am a fan of your music. I've been playing it for a little while now. And I think the track that really caught my attention was a track called Altar Call.
Mhm.
And you mentioned, like that funky element, and it's definitely there. I can hear like the Morris Day Time thing going on,
Yeah, yeah.
the Prince thing going on in Altar Call. When I saw the video, I was kind of looking for the dance to follow suit.
Now, now, listen, God blessed me with a lot of talents. I can play, I can write, I record my own music. Most of the times I engineer it, creative concepts and the video
Yeah,
direction and all that. I do all of that. But one thing that he did not bless me with was 2 feet that can dance. And so
he didn't give you
I
the
do a little
moves.
boogie, but that's all I got. I can't really
Yeah,
dance.
I
That's
can
the
boogie
only
as
thing
well.
that's missing.
So yeah, the influence there. Remind me. So the album is called Roosevelt,
Yes.
and I cannot wait to get the whole project. I understand, Uncle Greg is kind of doing that kind of one track focus thing, and so saying that was not meant to be a pun, but the single is called Focus,
Yeah, for sure.
which I absolutely love. Bit of a change from Altar Call, but the track called Focus is amazing.
It
Tell us
is.
about the hookup with Jonathan Nelson.
Yeah,
How
so
did
so
that come about?
yeah, Jonathan and Jason are they're like my big brothers,
Jason, beg your pardon.
Yeah, and so this song, I actually have a song with Jonathan too that we released a
Okay.
little while ago. But Jason has become a big brother, pastor figure, a mentor to me, not just in music but in life.
I've got
And
you.
so most of the time we talk, we don't talk about music or music that we want to create together. We talk about life. We talk about, he tells me to read my Bible more. He lets me know. I showed up to a show a little late and he didn't really know the circumstances behind it, but I showed up late and he pulled me to the side when I walked in and he was like, "Hey, look, you got to be on time." So he's that kind of person, to me. And I think, a lot of people in musician, a lot of people that are leaders in one way or another, we have a hard time finding someone that can pull our coattails and that can tell us when we're doing wrong, when we're making bad decisions. And Jason has definitely become that for me. And so I'm blessed to have so much favor with him that when I called and asked him to do this song with me, and Jason doesn't do a lot of songs with a lot of people, but he honored me in wanting to do this song. And it's a dream come true. I grew up in the church listening to Jason Nelson and Jonathan Nelson like they're legends to me, and to be able to have them on my personal phone, to be able to call them, see them, and get excited, and they get excited to see me. And then when I need them to work on music with me, they do it. It's just amazing. It's just a testament, that God will really make your dreams come true and really put you in positions that He promised you. I never
Yeah,
thought in a million years Jason Nelson get along would do a song with me, but even beyond that, be my confidant in life.
yeah.
And that's the relationship that I hold most valuable. Not that he did a song with me, but that I can call him when I need something, when I'm in
Yeah.
trouble, when I need to talk to somebody. He'll answer the
We
phone.
all need somebody that keeps us in check, and for you, it's one of the brothers. That's a fantastic thing, you know.
Absolutely,
Even though
absolutely.
you didn't know your circumstances, it could have been a flat tire or whatever. But hey,
Exactly, exactly. He was like, "No, man,
we do need somebody that says,
yes."
"Listen,
Like, no, you're
bruv,
gonna show up on time. You're
sort
not
it
gonna do
out."
all this Hollywood, all this stuff, man. He said, "I'm not saying that that was your intent, but I'm making you aware." He's good at making me aware of what people see, even that if that's not my intent. Sometimes when you're growing and when you're becoming something, you have to do things a certain way so that people don't assume that you're a certain way. And so he's really good at pulling me in and saying,
That's
"Yo,
real
let's
cool.
get this together. Let's make this right." And I'm
That's real cool.
accountable to those things.
So Roosevelt is your first album.
First album, yes,
Wow.
yes.
And I've only heard two tracks, and already I'm like gagging to get like
We
the
gonna have to
whole
give you. We
thing.
gonna have to get you the whole album, man. You
Please, for sure. So,
make sure you send over your email, your mailing address, and I'll make sure that not only we'll send you the digital copy today through email, but I'm gonna send you an actual vinyl and everything, man, so you can be full T Roosevelt. I feel like you're being shaded. Like you're shaded on the records. It's really good.
I'm so appreciative. So, listen, the album so far for me is just fantastic. It really is the business in terms of that fresh vibe. It's
Mhm.
definitely got that going on. How many tracks on the album?
Roosevelt has 12 tracks.
Okay.
12 tracks on the album. And they,
And
like I said, they range.
how would you describe the album in terms of these track contents? How would you
Yeah,
describe it?
it's a journey of who I am, musically. I did this album to not. I didn't want to make a statement. I didn't want to, attack a certain topic. And also, I didn't want to make like a worship album or anything like that. I wanted to make an album that reminded me of waking up on Sunday mornings when my mama would cook and she'll put on a record, whether it was gospel or funk or whatever, and we would dance and have a good time. And I think for me, at the time when I was writing this record with my team, I was in a space where I had a lot going on, and I just wanted to escape some of the things that I had going on and just have fun, in
Yeah,
church and just have a good time. And so this record is just really the purpose of it is for people to have a good time. So the content is just about fun and remembrance of times in life when things were great and things were fun and taking you back down memory lane is that kind of thing. And it's a journey through classic R&B, classic funk, and classic New Jack. And I think we were successful in doing that.
I think
And
so. I think
yeah,
so.
for sure,
Yeah,
for
that
sure. So
track,
12 records, and
the latest
yeah,
single, "Focused,"
mhm,
is a beautiful track, and the pairing of you and my dear brother is just fantastic. I
yeah,
can tell just by I've listened to it quite a few times, and I can tell the symmetry between you. It's like sometimes you find some collaborations are kind of off,
yeah,
but you guys, yeah, there's more than just the collaboration, and
yes.
you explaining to me that he's your mentor. It really does cement everything together. Are there any other collaborations on the album, or is it just my brother?
Uh, yes, and so I have some collaborations with people that I work with closely, and so
Okay,
there's a guy named Madison that's on the record. I do a song with him. I do a song with Dwayne D.W. Wright, um, who is Timothy Wright's son. He's one of the greatest bass players
I
in the
know
world
Timothy
right
Wright.
now.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
yeah. So his son is co-producing, playing bass, and also did a song with me on there. And then a guy named DJ Lowry out of Houston, who's an amazing
Yeah.
vocalist as well. Um, is on there, and then the whole album is just a collaboration. We record. If you can tell, I'm in my personal studio,
Yeah.
and I still believe in recording things in the old school way,
Yeah.
and so it's just a collaboration of musicianship. I had some amazing musicians to play on this record, and some great great times in getting this record recorded. We did it old school, so we had everybody in the studio at the same time for about a week and a
Yeah.
half,
My
and we
God.
actually did like maybe 18 songs in that week, and we knocked it down to the
12.
album. Yeah, the
Okay,
12,
cool.
and we did
Sounds
some
good.
more
I
things on
love
the
that old school vibe where everybody
yeah,
comes together and it's not a case of what the kind of lockdown thing where you send a track to somebody, they do their part, you send it to
right.
someone else, they do their part. Everybody together, the vibe is different, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It creates this symmetry between the creators, and so to be able to cut the guitar, the bass, the drums, and the keys at the same time really changes the feel of the record. Where it's not too syncopated, it's not too on time.
Yeah,
It just gives it a feeling that you really can't explain. And when you hear the music, you definitely feel the way that it was created, and it gives you, like I said, it brings back to remembrance those times when music was like that, and it
yeah,
wasn't perfect, and
yeah.
but
It's
it just
just
was
the
great.
real thing, isn't it? A bit like jazz. Talking of which, because you say you've had jazz influences, is there anything like that on the album to look forward to, or is that for another project?
There's nothing real too jazzy on the record on this record, but we are working on an instrumental project, and so we explored it there. I actually have Roosevelt. We went into the studio with the band and we recorded just the instrumental versions of the songs, and however we
Right.
represented it that way. And so we have that we're going to release. And like I said, we just did the live album, which is extremely musical as well, which is coming out really soon. But we do plan on we're working on some collaborations with some amazing artists to do some jazz collaborations and some instrumental music. And also on my label, I have an artist, his name is Pat Williams, and we recorded a jazz record with him that's
Okay.
really, really great. It's called
Pat
Inclusive. If you
Williams.
want to look that up, Pat Williams Inclusive. It's an amazing jazz record that we put out through the label. And so I always explore that. I'm a fan of jazz because of my dad, and so I'm
Me too.
always looking for that kind of vibe, if,
Yeah.
even if it's not on my record personally.
Yeah. I'm an all rounder. I'm an all rounder. I love good music.
Yeah.
Put it that. I love good music. I was brought up in a household where my dad, who is from Jamaica, came to England, Windrush generation, and typically on a Friday night, my dad would get paid and he'd head straight for the record store
Hmm.
and buy a bunch of music, all different
Yes.
genres. So that's how I became an all rounder. And I guess it's quite similar for yourself. You've already explained about your dad being in jazz and stuff like that. So how long has the album been out, and what's the next move for you?
Yeah, the album Roosevelt itself has been out for a little over a year now.
Okay,
And so what's next for me is the Roosevelt Live record that's coming in the next few months. And then actually, I think it's going to come out in June. And then I've recorded two additional records that have not come out yet, that we're going to ready. And so I'm releasing the Roosevelt Live record. Then I'm going to release another album before the end of the year and another album first or second quarter of next year. And
wow,
so I waited my whole life to be in a position to release music that could be consumed outside of my general circle, and to have a platform to say things and to have music playing. And so I'm gonna take full advantage. The record this year is a record about love, God's love for one another, things like that. It's a little turn from the Roosevelt vibe, but it's still a great record. And then we get right back on the Roosevelt train. My record next year is going to be called Birth to Lee. It's named after my grandmother, and it's a social justice project. I felt the need to really speak about how I feel about what I see in the way that the world is and things that are going on. But it's a gospel project. But I remember back in the day when the churches spoke up for the social injustices and the things like that that's going on in the world. And so I wanted to make an album to God, but that also speaks to our state of being here in the world today. And so that record is going to come out next year. It's an amazing record, very roots vibe record, New Orleans funk. You know, there's a difference between James
Okay.
Brown funk and New Orleans funk. New
Wow.
Orleans funk is more like the Meters and Alan Toussaint and things like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
explore that version of funk
Okay.
in the Brooklyn
Okay.
record.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Wow. So we have so much to look forward to.
Yes,
So much
yes,
to look forward to. And I'm so pleased. I just know that we are going to be close. I
yes.
have a feeling. And I already know, and this is going to be a little bit of a scoop for everybody in the UK, because I already know that you will be coming to the UK at the end of May. We've got a bank holiday at the end of May, and it's already lined up that you're going to be at the Afro Hair and Beauty Show. Is that right?
Yes, I will. I'll be at the Afro Hair and Beauty Show. I'll be doing a little altar call. I might introduce a little something new as well. Um,
Okay.
and then we're going to go around. I really want to get into the UK market. That is a great market for gospel, surprisingly. I know it's not surprising to you guys, but us here in the States, we can sometimes be closed-minded when it comes to the world at large and how our music is represented in other countries. And the UK has a great gospel community, and so me being outside of the box, I really want to get involved and become a figure in the gospel community in the UK. And I know this time we come out, I'm not going to bring my whole band, but we're thinking about doing something really nice in the UK where I can
Yeah,
bring
we're
my
going to keep
band.
it simple. We're going to keep
Yeah,
it simple.
yeah, for sure,
So,
for sure.
and
And
for for those of you who might be wondering, pastors, promoters, things like that, Anthony is available. He is
I'm
available.
available.
So,
If you just
yeah,
call me, I'm coming, I promise. And we're going to put on a show that you have never seen before, and have a good time and lead people to Christ, which is the most important thing.
yeah, that is the most important thing. So, 28th of May, he flies in,
Yes,
and straight away, he will be doing a church event. Some fortunate church in the UK will be hosting
yes,
him, but
yes.
you can as well. Let me just be direct here. You can as well, and if you want to, then you just have to make contact with myself, or there's a company that's been assigned to you, Anthony. You don't know this, but there's a company called P45 Consultants. The lovely
Right.
Beverly White is also looking after a lot of your arrangements behind the scenes.
For
So
sure. Sure.
make contact with myself or Beverly, and we will make sure that Anthony gets to your radio station, your
Yes.
TV station, or your church
And we will
events.
come and have a great time. And I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to meeting everyone out in the UK. I went to the UK for the first time, like I said, a little under a month ago, and I had the time of my life. And so I told Uncle G, let's leverage this market. I love it there. You know, I want to go back and be a force in that community as well, and figure out how
Okay,
not only
great.
how you can have me come out and I can sing for you, but how I can serve in that area as well.
Okay, great. Sounds great to me. All right, so before you swing out the door, tell us how people can reach you on your social network platforms,
Yes,
please.
on Instagram, you can reach me at I am Anthony Hall. It'll pull up my Instagram. Add me as a friend. I talk back. Shoot me a message. On my website is officialanthonyhall.com. That's officialanthonyhall.com. Everywhere else, you can just look up Anthony Hall on Facebook. Twitter is I am Anthony Hall. I pull up. Shoot me a message. Let me know that you're vibing to my music. And I'll be more than happy to speak to you and to connect with you and to create new memories and new fans for sure.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. So you're not doing TikTok yet, no?
I do have a TikTok. That's I am Anthony Hall as well. I don't really
Okay.
do it too much, but I've been told that I have to get on it. So I'm about to
You have to
start
get on
TikToking.
TikTok.
Yeah, I got to get on TikTok, man. I'm trying to find a creative way to do something that's different, on
Okay,
TikTok.
maybe
So
maybe create a challenge, some sort
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
challenge.
Create a challenge or something, or maybe
Yeah,
TikTok how I produce my music in the studio with my team. I think
I've
that would
got
be
I've
cool as
got
well.
one for you. So your track Altar Call, remember I said it's got that sort of Morris Day vibe?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get some people doing some dances to that.
Some dance
Create a
moves too. Okay, I
challenge.
got you. Say less. We're gonna do that
All
this
right.
week for sure. I'm gonna make sure I tag you
Anthony,
in it too, so you can do it too.
thank you so much for being my guest on the program
For
today,
sure.
Anthony.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate any platform that would allow me to speak and talk about, what I have going on. So thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. So there you have it. My guest on the program today was the one and only Anthony Hall. And as you can hear, as you can imagine, there is such a lot more to come from Anthony. So do Google him, do check out his social networks, and look out for the album called Roosevelt. I shall be playing the track called Focus right after this on my solo radio program. So if you want to stick around for that, make sure you do. So for myself, Grantley, have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by. And check out one of these if you can. Subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, Grantley out.